I really don't want to make this tonight, but I made a promise to myself and said I would. This path sucks at times. There are a couple times where I really want to throw in the towel and give up and just do what everybody else does. Time and time again, I wish I could be content with everything and get a decent paying job, live a white picket fence life. But that's not the case. My curiosity is too high to just settle and never give up for what we're called to do. Actually, a funny story back when I was in high school and a lot less mature than I am now, I would take mirror selfies with my ass hanging out and I would caption them, "Never give up." And I would put these publicly on my Snapchat stories for everybody to see, where looking back on it, pretty crazy, but that's just who I was. I didn't care. And I still don't care what most people think of me. I am who I am. I'm made in God's image. Now, me at 16 compared to me at 25, two completely different people. Would I do that today? Probably not. Maybe in a group chat with my buddies, but that's about it. But I got "Never Give Up" tattooed on my ass so I wouldn't have to caption those pictures anymore. That was an 18-year-old decision. I was 5 days into college. And looking back, I don't regret it because it's funny. It's always a story to tell. Now, when it comes to decision making, and there's two paths, path A and path B. Path A is the more safe and secure one, but, not as cool. And path B is a lot of uncertainty, but a lot more stories to tell. I'm going with path B every single time. Because who doesn't want more stories to tell their future family when we get older? Life is short. Life is meant to be lived to the fullest. I want to squeeze out as much as I possibly can within this lifetime and do what I'm called to do. Ecclesiastes 7:14, when times are good, be happy, but when times are bad, consider this. God has made the one as well as the other. Therefore, no one can discover anything about their future. A verse I think about a lot, and a verse that I hold near dear to my heart whenever I was going through tough times and didn't really know how to discern away from them back in 2023. Startups were fizzling out for the first time. As I'd mentioned in the previous video, my world was crumbling. I felt like a complete, utter failure moving back in with my parents. I did not want to do that. But I could have tried to make things work there and forced it, or I could have moved back. And the decision to move back was definitely necessary because I got right with God December 27th, 2023. Night I'll never forget. But moving forward after the fact, things started to become a lot easier. And that was my one big failure I was meant to take lessons from. I wouldn't even call it a failure either. I didn't know what I was doing. I had never been to Boston. I didn't know exactly what this opportunity was. And looking back, it was an opportunity. I'm glad I did it, but the legitimacy of it was a little bit questionable. It wasn't towards the end of my Boston tenure where I did get a legitimate opportunity. I just did not do a very good job at all. I'm like, oh, oh, but it's part of it. And going back to the never give up thing, there have been numerous times where I've wanted to throw in the towel. And every time I'm going through a difficult time on this path specifically, I'll question whether I want to be a Navy SEAL or not. Okay. They do hard things. They're they're cool. I'll go be a Navy SEAL. And then the idea of war surfaces, and I filter out that idea fairly quickly because I do not have the desire to go to war. Uh, yeah, I could go on about that, but that's a different topic for a different day. So I realize, okay, the only way is through. This is temporary, but as I said prior, I try to realize and ask myself, how serious have I been taking this? And I always thought the quote, you have to sacrifice your old life for your new one, was a little corny, but the older I get, the more I realize how true it is. And there's there's a season for everything. And there is a piece of scripture that I really enjoy, in Ecclesiastes also. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And I think about that one frequently too, because everything's temporary. These moments, as they're passing by, in the past, I've given my thoughts and emotions way too much power instead of maintaining the present moment and appreciating it for what it was. Because everything is temporary. You go on a run, for example, and you're running 10 miles, and maybe, you're struggling to get going at mile 1 to 2. You don't stop at mile 1 to 2 because you could be feeling a lot better miles 5 through 9. And giving those thoughts and emotions too much power leads to defeat, and discerning away from that was horror initially, but knowing that everything is temporary gives me more courage to act on the opportunities that are right in front of me at that given moment. Another example of friend who I haven't seen in a while maybe asked me to do something. And initially I might say no, But as I think on it, okay, I'm in my hometown. It's July of 2025. I turn 26 next month. I'm not sure where I'll be in 6 months. It's not going to be in my hometown. I came back here knowing this was a detour, but knowing that might make me more inclined to see that person and surrender to that opportunity. So, yeah, but this path, it's uh it's one I wouldn't trade for anything because of the creativity that I get to express. Remain that childlike mindset, and you'll never work a day in your life to create, to provide value for people, to just keep on going. The process, the process, the process. Fall in love with the process, and it it makes sense why I love this so much from my athletic background. I just love ways to be better each and every day. And that's why I do what I do. Money is cool, sure. Could provide for a family, you could provide for other people. You can truly do good within the world, but that's not the reason why I do what I do. The main objective is and always will be to provide as much value to people as possible and removing my ego completely, which early on was very difficult. And going through ego death, like point high school, you're a top dog, sports, whatever. I wasn't even top dog. I was very quiet, reserved, unless I was with my group, but aside from the point. But in college, a bigger pool of individuals, lost my mojo a bit. And like, oh, shoot. And there was that uh, period of humility, the valley of despair on the Dunning-Kruger effect. And at the time, not knowing when I would get out was frustrating. My head was cloudy in a lot of ways. And uh, again, period, I wouldn't trade for anything. I would do it the exact same in a heartbeat. But this path, it's not easy. If you have the ability to fall on your face over and over and over again and continue to get up with the scrapes, the scratches, the bruises, the broken bones, and to keep on going, you'll be okay. And as long as you continue to have that faith that you'll be okay, you'll be okay. Smile through the shitty times, smile through the good times. Smile just a smile. Someone else might need to see your smile that given day. And I have this quote where someone else said it cool, but quote that I say that I like to live by is if you can smile when you're going through shit, you're going to be okay. It's almost a privilege to be able to go through this situation. Not almost, it is privilege. But I'm blessed for the friends that I have around me rooting for me. I'm blessed for the friends just doing cool things. And they're inspiring to me every single day. So I'm training for a 100 miler right now for my buddy's nonprofit. A lot of cool people coming out for that. So I'm excited. And I have my last long run on deck for tomorrow. So 30 miles. It's going to be fun. And Godspeed.